Hello and welcome here to a very special Bobcat Buzz with Tae Baker, the head coach of the Bryant Stratton College of Syracuse women's basketball team. And of course, myself, Dan Tortora. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of Bryant Stratton College of Syracuse. And we've gotten to tell a lot of stories in the Bobcat Buzz. This is going to be a different type of story.
Yes.
So first and foremost, happy to have you here.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, Dan.
And Tae, you know, we've kind of a little bit, you know, you've alluded when we've had conversations of, you know, maybe a game and you say, well, this isn't what what I'm going through today isn't what I went through when I was growing up and this and that. Mm-hmm. How would you describe growing up? What was the culture around you like?
Growing up was pretty fun, actually. You know, I'm from the city of Syracuse.
Yeah.
Grew up in the south side of Syracuse, the Pioneer Homes at Wilson Park. So like the culture was like, we were like I want to say poor neighborhood, but it was just like like a lot of my friends from the area, we grew up in like what would you call the projects, you know, so that was the area we grew up in.
When you say like it was fun growing up, when people hear Southside Syracuse project area,
Yes.
They think violence.
Yes.
Did you grow up around that as well?
There was violence around. A lot of the older people that I know around me kind of did a good job keeping me away from the violence.
Yeah.
I always heard about it, but yeah, they did a good job keeping me away. Like my parents did a good job as well.
When I talk to a lot of people around the world, they say that sports was an outlet.
Yes.
That sports kept them away from making bad decisions or doing, you know, certain things out there, or maybe what their friends were doing.
Yes.
Do you feel like sports was an outlet to keep your focus when maybe somebody else was going out and doing something that they wanted you to do, and you're like, nah, I gotta go to practice?
Yes, absolutely. I definitely feel like basketball was an outlet for myself. I had a lot of friends that were in, you know, gangs and stuff like that, but they also did a good job keeping me away from, you know, gangs and stuff like that. But yeah, then that's.
So what would you tell somebody going through that choice, right, of either go in this direction, get involved in violence, get involved in something that's going to take you away from potentially your family, or go to a sport or find a hobby or find something else? Like, what would you say to somebody right now that feels like, I have to go here, I have to stay on these 3 blocks for the rest of my life?
What I would tell these kids is what a lot of the older mentors told me was like, there's only 2 places you would end up, you know, and that would be, you know, dead or in jail. You know, so just at the end of the day, just hearing that alone made me not want to, you know, be in the streets and stuff like that. Like, you know, at the end of the day, it's fun being outside, but, you know, it's always better to just, you know, stick to what you love to do. And that was basketball for me, and whatever it is that you love to do, as long as it's not hurting nobody.
So, I mean, you grow up in society as an African-American man.
Yes.
So life doesn't feel the same as it would with some other backgrounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk about an HBCU opportunity that you had here recently. But growing up as an African-American man, did it feel different? Did you feel like you were treated the same? What was your experience like? Because an unfortunate part of what I get to do as a job is, it's unfortunate and fortunate. It's unfortunate to hear it. It's fortunate to try and help. But we live in a world where if you look different, if you sound different, if you speak a different language, if you have different money, then people don't want to be around, right? And you and I have, like I said, when we talk, you kind of let in pieces of yourself without going fully into the story. So to today kind of open that up more, as an African American man, did you ever feel treated equal, or did you feel like there were times where it seemed like your skin was not respected?
Yeah, I have both experiences because, like I said, I grew up in the inner city. I went to Henniger High School. I didn't mention that earlier, but I went to Henniger High School, Grant Middle School, Franklin Elementary. And you know, growing up around there, there was a lot of, you know, African American kids, so I couldn't really tell the difference if I got treated a certain way, because we all kind of got treated, you know, the same way.
Yeah.
But you know, as I got older, there has been incidents I've been in, but you know, I've always, you know, been respectful to the individual that I felt disrespected by. So it never went any farther, but there has been times I felt, you know, treated a different way.
And how do you deal with that? How do you handle in a positive way somebody not knowing Tae and just seeing the color of your skin and saying, I don't want to be around that person?
Yeah.
How do you deal with somebody judging you by nothing other than what you look like?
I usually just deal with it by ignoring it usually. It makes me mad and stuff like that, but like I said, as a kid, I was always taught to deal with adversity. You know, just growing up around here, there's always things happening around here, you know. So as a kid, I was always taught to deal with certain things. You know.
So for you talk about a support system that you've had.
Mhm.
Do you ever look at either, you know, players that you coach or people that you played with or just people around in the community and say, wow, like I had this support system, they don't have this, like I need to help be that for them?
Yes, definitely. Just having both parents, like that was the luxury that I had. Like I said, that was separated me a lot from a lot of my friends. You know, a lot of my friends come from single family homes. You know, and I came from, you know, 2-family home. Yeah, we struggled and everything because my parents had to work a lot. So it's kind of like that's what kind of put me around the friends that I had.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just knew that was a luxury having that, and if they had like a father figure at the time, I just knew that would help them, you know, go through the adversities that I was dealing with. We all were dealing with it, but I was able to get through it a little bit easier than a lot of my friends because I had good support systems. I had a great brother, you know, I have 2 older brothers and a younger sister, and we all were like, you know, real close. We all lived together growing up, so it was good.
So do you, as good as everything was that you got to have your family,
Yeah.
did you have friends that you've lost along the way?
Yes, absolutely, yes. I had a friend, I can't remember exactly what year it was. I actually have it on my arm. So 2009. So 2009, I lost my best friend. Yeah, I appreciate that, Dan. Yeah, he was like my right hand in basketball. So like I feel like he kind of helped me get to where I'm at in today. Because he was like my right hand, he was my motivator, if he was my defender, you know what I mean? So yeah, he was big role.
How did you lose him?
We lost him at we usually have a Puerto Rican festival every year downtown, and he just so happened to be downtown at that time, and like a riot, you know, broke out or whatever, and he just happened to be in the middle of the riot, and yeah.
So you have him on your arm, like you said.
Yes.
He's your right hand.
Yes.
Do you still feel him today?
Absolutely, yes.
What's his name?
His name was Anthony Lewis. Rest in peace, Ant.
So Anthony Lewis. And
Yes.
so how do you feel him with you?
I just feel him like when I feel like I'm going through, like when I feel like I'm in danger for one. I feel like anytime I just think that he's around somehow, some way, I usually escape danger, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, all jokes aside, I just feel like when I'm coaching, he's out there because he knows how much I love the basketball. I just feel like he's always around 24/7, you know. Just.
So, I mean, as this Bobcat Buzz here with Tae Baker on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, as we continue the conversation, Tae, how would you describe your life? I mean, like you said, you have your family, you had both parents, not everybody has that. How would you describe your childhood and adolescent life as you were growing up, as compared to maybe some people that you saw? I mean, could you tell the difference and say, you know, because to me, I thought, like the parents I had were everybody's parents. Mm-hmm. And now, you know, as you grow older, you're like, oh my God, like we didn't have the same parents. But did you see like, okay, I have these blessings in my life, I have these certain parts of my family that other people don't have? Was that something you saw as a child, or do you see it more now that you had more to come home to, and that maybe some of these other families didn't have that, and so their focus maybe wasn't the same?
I definitely see that. Like I said, I feel like having both parents definitely separated me from a lot of my friends. I would never forget, like, a friend of mine. Like, I know I said I grew up in the Pioneer Homes, but I also lived on South Ave as well, and that's like a low class area as well in Syracuse, but also on the South Side. But yeah, I could never forget where a friend of mine came into my house. And when you come into the house, it was like upstairs kitchen. I'm not sure if that's normal, but you know, living in the projects and then going over here, it was like a big difference. You know what I mean? And then like going to my friend's house, it was like, you know, the houses were small. I'm not sure if you've ever been over there, but the houses aren't too big. You know?
Yeah.
There's just I could kind of see that I was a little bit more blessed than a lot of my friends. Like now that I'm thinking back.
What's a misunderstanding of an area like that, like the homes that you grew up in, that are smaller, you said, you know, lower income and whatnot? From the outside looking in, people always seem to have an opinion of something that's not theirs, right? Mm-hmm. How would you describe it from the inside out to somebody, you know, that's never been on the South Side or never been where you grew up? What's the misunderstanding of that area?
I'm not sure if it's a misunderstanding, but like there's a lot of like love that comes from the project area. Like growing up around your friends and family, we all kind of grow up like brothers and cousins and sisters. You know, everybody knows everybody. You know, that's why I get so much support, I feel like, from my city, is because I really grew up in my city. You know, I've been playing basketball here in basketball league since I was 11 years old. So yeah, that's what I think.
So where do you think the country's at in appreciating each other that are different?
The country's
like our country, where do you think we're at in being different culture, different skin, different gender, different sexuality, whatever? Where do you feel like we're at? Are we getting better? Mm-hmm. Is it getting worse? I mean, how do you look at society as far as people getting along with people that don't look like them and don't act like them?
I'm gonna be honest, I feel like it's getting better. We need to get better. You know, I feel like there's still a lot of opinions out there towards other races. You know what I mean? I feel like if we actually sit down like how me and you are, two different races and, you know, whatever nationalities, beliefs, possibly, we would be able to get to know each other a little bit more. You know, like I said, I grew up on the south side of Syracuse, but I had the luxury of playing with basketball players from Liverpool, New York, Jamesville, New York, just different type of people, you know, and everybody that I actually met has been cool, different races, you know.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, from my perspective, I grew up thinking I was 100% Italian, mm-hmm. and I found out at 14 that we're Hispanic and Italian, yes. and it was at the time the school I was going to. It was like, why don't you not tell people you're Hispanic? Just mm-hmm. tell them you're Italian, mm-hmm. because it wasn't accepted. And I remember I dated a girl that years after, you know, school, whatever. It was in my early 30s. I dated, so a few years ago. Mm-hmm. I dated a girl, and I told her my nationality, and she told me, "We're not going to tell my grandfather you're Hispanic. He can stomach that you're Italian.
Wow.
He can get over that, but he can't get over the other thing." And I remember going, what the hell does that mean? I mean, have you been in conversations like that where you feel like people just kind of say things that are racist and they don't even like register what they're saying?
Yeah, I can't remember off top. I've been in a lot of situations like that, like racist situations, I guess you want to call it. But yeah, I've been in a lot of situations like that. But like I said, I usually try to ignore it because from what I've seen on TV and things like that, when you try to, you know, react or defend yourself, it usually don't end well for the the person trying to defend herself. You know, I usually just like if I get pulled over or anything like that. You know, for example, I usually just give him my ticket and I'll handle it in court. You know, as opposed to even trying to say about rights or anything like that. You know, even though I know my rights, I just know a line not to cross. You know.
Have you gotten pulled over once or more where you felt like it had nothing to do with what you were doing driving?
Yes. Yes.
And like you said, you handle that by saying, just give me my ticket, I'll handle it in court. How do you deal with that in your insides, right? When you get pulled over, the first time it happened, where you're thinking, why is this happening? Maybe it felt different than the next time. But when you get pulled over, and do you get that sensation inside of you of, I know I've done nothing wrong, I don't know why I'm getting, like, do you get angry? Do you get sad? Do you get scared? Because the unfortunate thing that I have to tell the story of that I don't enjoy hearing people say, but it has to be told, is that everyone I know who's African American, everybody, has at least one story of being pulled over where they were like, there was no reason. So how do you deal with it?
Like I said, I usually just stay calm. You know, as long as the police officer, like, they can pull me over. Like I said, I know my rights. My license is good. Registration, everything is good on the car. But I just know to just stay calm. Even if they get out of line, I just know to just stay calm. Like I said, handle it in court. Because I gotta make it back home, you know.
Yeah.
If I don't make it home, I can never handle it in court. You know, then it's his word against, my family basically saying he was a good kid or he was a good person. So I just know like that. I'm always just thinking,
And the thing is, there's great people in law enforcement, and there's other people, right? And just like there's great people in any walk of life, when it comes to, there's comedians that joke about this, but with truth, in law enforcement, you can't really have a bad egg. In pilots, you can't have a bad egg. There's certain people that, you don't want to have the person, you don't have the EMT that's going to come take care of you in the ambulance and she is pretty good. You want the one that is really good. So,
right.
So, there's these polarizing opposite ends when it comes to like law enforcement and whatnot. What would you say to your daughter about law enforcement? Because things aren't always fair, but there are some really good people, and I've met them, that genuinely want to protect and serve. So what do you say to your daughter about the reality that not everybody's bad and not everybody's good, but there's good and bad?
Yes, I usually just let her know, I usually just let my daughter know, like, no one's gonna love you like me and your mom gonna love you. So, when you go out into the real world, always, just like boxing, have your guard up, and just be on point all the time. You know what I mean? So, that I pretty much just always try to engrave that in her. And yeah, that's pretty much what I tell her, to either just stay on point and just always protect herself, and always try, and also tell her to trust her gut feeling a lot, And as far as like, because she's so young, but like future reference, if you ever get pulled over, go to like an open area, a local area where there's other people at, Never go like on the side street, because I would drive, if it was up to me, I would drive all the way into the gas station.
So, but in it shouldn't have to be like that, and I think what's hard for me is that we live in a world, and this with social media now, that anybody, like, bullying used to stop at 3 o'clock, get out of school, right? And now bullying can go 24/7. But on top of that, I've asked the question before, why would somebody make fun of me? Why would somebody hurt me? Why would somebody say mean things? I'm nice to everybody, right? But you take it one step further and say, okay, why doesn't somebody like me for me, your personality? If it's your skin, you can't rip it off, right? So how do you stay positive if somebody says, hey, Tae, no offense, I just don't like the way you look? Because you can't change that. Like that, like hearing from my ex, my grandfather can't stomach that you have Spanish blood, so we're going to leave that alone. There's no response from that it makes you mad or it makes you want to cry. There's no happy response.
Right.
So when somebody is like, I don't like you, Tae, because you're already mean enough that someone could just say, hey, you could be the greatest person in the world, but I don't like the way you look.
Yeah, I probably would just, if someone you say something like that, that usually like, you know, signs that I would think there's something wrong with them, or like they're ignorant. And then like as far as the spiritual, you know, I'm always talking like spirits and stuff like that. I just feel like it's just a bad spirit like in this person right now. Like he's just something. If that's not him, or if it is him, I just need to remove myself from around this person. You know what I mean? Like I said, like when I was younger, I probably would say something out of line, but you know, like I grew up. You know what I mean? I kind of just would ignore it for real. But you know, when I was younger, I probably would say, you know, what you say, or you know, something like to feed into the negativity. You know, so now if someone says that to me, I probably would just remove myself from the area, or probably like giggle or something, say something. If I would say something, at least I would say something smart back, you know. Yeah. But I wouldn't get it, you know, physical or anything.
So what do you want if we need to have conversations in society, which I think we do? What do you want people to talk about? People that don't look like each other, that don't come from the same different religion, different nationality, gender, money, sexual orientation, whatever. What would you like the discussion to be?
Me personally, I don't know about the world, but me personally, like what I would like to learn, and I'm not saying from a particular race, or it could be from anyone. You know, me personally, I know like myself, my friends, family, we weren't very financially educated growing up. So I would want like people who has, you know, access to certain resources, you know, to sit down and have classes and, you know, ceremonies, whatever they're called, for me to attend, you know, myself. And I would even bring friends, even if it costs $10. I would get 10 to 20 people in here that, you know, that would basically help elevate us. You know what I mean? Like right now I'm working on credit. All I know as far as credit is to just pay my credit, you know, just pay it off. But I know there's other loops and ways, but you know, I don't know who to contact. And I know I'm not just speaking for myself, because I have, like I said, a lot of friends in Syracuse. Yeah. We all talk about this type of stuff. But like stuff like that. And then as far as like, you know, being like mean and racist and stuff like that, that's another thing, you know, ceremony or something that we can have when there's like different races, you know, come into a room like this, and we all just get up there and talk about, you know, where we came from, our lives, and then we will understand each other a little bit more. Cause yeah, that's how I feel. Like I said, I could talk for days about, you know.
No, go ahead. That's what this is here for today.
Yeah.
It's here to let you say your piece and talk about it. That's what Wake Up Call was meant for from the beginning, and everything I do is, you know, because I get that sometimes, like what you said, they'll say, oh, you know, Dan, I'm sorry I could go, I want you to go on.
Yeah.
Because the conversation isn't good enough. It hasn't been good enough. And, you know, you and I were little, and then we were teenagers, and now we've grown up more. And, you know, you have a daughter, I've been married, so I know what it was like to have that.
Yes.
And so we've done adult things, but we still don't see society getting better in certain areas.
Right.
So with all due respect, you know, we need to let each other talk, and I think that's the thing that we're missing is people. I tell people this all the time. They ask me about my life. We go on a date, and the girl will be really nice, and she asks me 20 questions about me, and I'll stop her and say, hey, listen, I know about me.
Right.
I want to know about you.
Right.
And I think that's what we're lacking in society is like, I know Dan, but I don't know everything about Tae.
Right.
So tell me about Tae.
Right.
You know, and in the interviews where your daughter has joined you, I get to know more about you, and I get to know about her.
Yes.
And I get to know that yourself and her mother have raised her to be a confident young woman, because instead of being shy like most girls or guys would have been, little kids would have been, when I said, hey, you want the last word? She was like, sure, you know, and I love that. And that shows that you've taught her to speak up for herself.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is awesome.
Yes, I agree, yep. I try to integrate that, and like I said, that's big. A lot of kids nowadays don't have confidence.
Yeah,
you
amen.
know, so we try to teach that, you know, to her now, as opposed to when we get she'd get a teen or whatever, like.
So you say you would like, you know, a room full of people from all different backgrounds to just talk.
Mhm.
What excites you about learning about what excites you about other cultures?
Just learning in general. I like to learn, you know what I mean? Like, we have a girl on our basketball team that's from Kenya, you know, and she showed me pictures and stuff like that, you know, but for what I see on TV is not what the picture she showed me, you know? So,
Yeah.
like, what if I didn't talk to her, I would have never known that Kenya is that beautiful, you know what I mean? So, one day I got a place to visit because I said I would like to go to Kenya one day now, and like that's another reason why I like to talk to people and get to know people. You know, just their background in general is cool. Like, everybody got a story to tell.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, myself and yourself.
What's the best part of America?
The best part of America? I don't know. I know I'm a little older, but I still feel young, so I don't really know too much about about America. But I just like that you can just be free, you know what I mean? Like I said, I hear stories from, you know, my players where there's actually wars and,
Yeah.
you know, things going on in certain parts of Africa.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, man, it feels good to be able to just walk outside and not have to worry about, you know, a gang of, you know, people coming to attack you and your family and stuff like that.
What's the worst part of America?
The worst part, I feel like, is everything costs money. Maybe that's the world. But
Everything, yeah.
everything just freaking costs money. I just want to just go do something
Yeah.
free.
Yeah. So the best part of America is freedom. The worst part of America is lack of freedom.
Lack of freedom.
In a certain way.
In a certain way,
In a
yeah.
certain way. So before we get to your experience at the HBCU, you know, because I want everything we do on Wake Up Call to be an open forum and to have those discussions. In order to have that, we have to be fair with it. So I ask you questions, you've answered them.
Mhm.
So ask me. You get to lead Wake Up Call right now.
Okay, well, I'm gonna start with what you think is the best and worst part of America.
Best part of America is that I can have the freedom to be who I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
I could start my company. I didn't have to ask anybody permission. I didn't have to, I mean, it was me and God working in the trenches.
Yep.
So I got to build my business without anybody looking over my shoulder going, what are you doing?
Right.
So I love the freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Worst part of America, I would say, besides gas and egg prices, are,
I agree with that.
yeah, I never thought a carton of eggs would be more than a gallon of gas, but all right, that's what we're doing now because there's a shortage and, you know, and there's supply and demand. I was like, what did like 1 million people move into Syracuse? Should never be more than $2.50 in Syracuse.
I agree.
So all these people moved in. No, they didn't. So you're welcome to, though. Come on and make us better. But I would say the worst part of America beyond that is the hate.
Mhm.
It's okay, we have so much freedom that we take advantage. We think that the First Amendment's freedom of speech is the freedom to be a jerk,
Mhm.
and it's not.
Mhm.
Freedom of speech does not mean the freedom to hate, disrespect, be racist, sexist, prejudice, yell, swear, put somebody down. That is not the freedom of speech.
Right.
The freedom of speech is the freedom to speak your mind respectfully,
Mhm.
and I think we've lost that.
Right.
Not all of us, but I wish the people that led this country on all sides would stop playing a pissing match and remember that every decision they make affects you and me.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
All right, keep going. What else you
Man, I wish I would have took that question a little bit more serious.
got? You're good.
I said everything costs. But,
I mentioned eggs.
But yeah, I know you just a little bit. Like you said, you know me. Where are you from?
I'm from here, from the north side of Syracuse.
Okay, I think you told me that before.
Yeah, so from the north side, Lincourt Bakery is the
Okay.
best bakery in the world. I don't care what the world has to show me. No, I'm kidding. I would try your donuts, but ours are better. So, yeah, I'm from the north side, and, you know, my parents still very much value that area, and I love that. So I grew up here. I went to school in Pennsylvania, in Scranton at Marywood, and then I came back here for a couple, not even 3 months, moved down to Scranton, worked at an ESPN affiliate, came back here on an ESPN affiliate, went to Orlando on an ESPN affiliate, worked at Disney too, moved back here, worked for a Yahoo affiliate, and then started my own company.
Wow.
So I've been in and out of Syracuse.
Yes, sir. Well, have you ever been to the South? Have you ever been to any like of the hoods or low income areas in Syracuse?
Yes. So I have been to different parts, but I would say actually spending quality time where I got to know, normally going through the South Side, I'd be in areas of the South Side, but not into the neighborhoods. I did speak at Danforth Middle School.
Okay.
And what I found incredible about that was through the Building Men program. And so there was, young men in there, mostly African American, if not all, and between the ages, I would say like 8 or 9 to 14. And I don't write down what I'm going to talk about. I don't go up with like a thing. I go up and just speak from my heart.
Yeah.
And I was talking, and I didn't really know if I was making sense. And I said, just out of sheer curiosity, how many of you believe in God? Every hand went up.
Yeah.
And my ex was there at the time, and I looked at her like, look at this. People who had so many reasons to not believe that somebody was looking out for them. And I went to school with people that had everything handed to them, and they thought, God doesn't exist. I did this myself. And so I said, isn't that crazy that the people that believe in God are the ones that people would think shouldn't? And it teaches you that God has nothing to do with materials, nothing to do with things you can't bring with you. God is something that you know inside of you, and God is in all of us, but becomes less clear when your ego gets bigger and louder. And I was moved by the children that they believe in God despite their circumstance, which really humbled me and increased my faith. And then I remember I'm very close to my grandparents, and they've all passed, and I said something about grandparents, and this one kid looked upset. And he was sitting in the front, and he was like, no, I don't mess with my grandfather. He's like, I punched my grandfather in the face.
Wow.
And I was like, why? Like, what's going on? And he's like, oh, he was never good to me, and this and that. And then you find out who his grandfather, like what he did to him. And then you realize, like, oh, I have a view of grandparents because mine are loving. He has a view of grandparents as evil, not because grandparents are evil, but because his situation was painful. And I think, it's told so many different ways, but some people say from the other side of America. It's when you don't know, and this is regardless of color or anything, you don't know. Like, if I have a dad who loves me and somebody has a dad who beats them, and I say, I love going to the store with my dad, inside of them, that could create a fire. Like, they want to get angry, right? When you say father, they might want to punch the wall.
Right.
And you got to know them to know why. So, yes, I've been to the South Side, and Danforth Middle School was a beautiful experience, but a tip of the iceberg for me, where I think there's a lot more that can be done, and I'm open to being a part of helping.
Well, you kind of answered my next question, because I was going to ask, what else do you think needs to be done or could be added to?
I think people need to feel safe.
Yeah.
I think that I watched an episode years ago of Family Matters, and it was about Carl Winslow, the main dad in the show, that his father went to get a gallon of milk because his mom asked for it, and he got shot and he never came home. And then you fast forward to Syracuse today, and a little girl went to get milk for her family on the South Side, and she got shot from a bullet that wasn't meant for her, and she didn't come home. And I watched that episode of Family Matters like 15 years ago, 20 years ago. And I'm thinking to myself, how could that happen once, let alone how can that still be happening?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, I think some people fight for so long that they don't know why they're fighting.
Right, right.
And I think, I mean, we're so much more similar than we're different. And I think what I would say to people, and what I do say to people,
Mm-hmm.
is take away what the media tells you and all this BS.
Right, right.
Because the media doesn't like me any more than they like you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I tell the truth.
Right.
And so I'm a member of the media on my badge, but the media doesn't like people that tell the truth.
Right, right.
And they don't like people that believe in God.
Right.
So I tell coaches and players all the time, I go, they don't like you, they don't like me either.
Mm-hmm.
If you tell the truth and you try to be a good person and you believe in God, most of the media is not going to like you.
Right, right, right.
And so the media is going to tell the story that they want to tell. But the story that I know is, unless you're a crazy person, unless you are totally just off the wall,
Mm-hmm.
we all want good housing, safe neighborhoods, food,
Yes.
drink, enough money to pay our bills and get to go on vacation and do things we like to do. We want our children to have a better life than we have. We want there to be good education. We want the people that protect and serve to protect and serve. We want to feel safe. We want to be free to do what we want to do. And when you really break, we want good health care. We want a good future. We want a good retirement plan. When you break it all down, who in their right mind, regardless of gender, sexual orientation, color, language, money, whatever, who doesn't want safety, security, peace, kindness, generosity, freedom? We all want the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the media tells us if we look different, we want different things. It's not true. And so I think that the best way for us to help people is to break the narrative of, if somebody looks different from you, has different money than you, speaks a different language, has a different religion, no one's better than anybody else.
Right.
At the end of the day, you and I want to be able to go home,
Mm-hmm.
not have bullets flying,
Right.
open the door, see our entire family home safe.
Mm-hmm.
We want to tuck them in to no gunshots. We want them to be warm enough in the house. We want to know we can keep the lights on. And we want to know that that person we're tucking in is going to have a life where she or he can be whoever they want to be.
Right, right. I agree. Definitely.
So I think that the reality of life is we've been lied to. We're not different. We're the same.
Mm-hmm. Definitely agree on that, Dan. Yeah.
What else you got? Throw another one out.
Off top, I'm trying to think.
You're giving me some good ones here.
Yes, yes. Because I'm trying to think of more, because that I kind of got caught into your story. I forgot I was asking questions. But what's another one? How do you feel about the girl? Like, cause you've seen a few of our games.
Yeah.
Just jumping all over. But how do you feel that we played the few games this year?
I feel that the way that you started off as a coach, first time ever head coach,
Yes, sir.
you had immediate success. And I never saw an ego. I never saw someone who was disrespectful. I saw somebody who was appreciative every time that I talked to you. And I saw that early success, and I felt that, and I feel like the way that your players are with you and the way I've seen them respond to you off the court too, is I feel that they feel safe with you.
Mm-hmm.
And that you understand them. And I don't think coaches everywhere truly get that if a player feels safe with you, heard by you, and understood by you, they will do things
Right.
that you think are impossible, and that team will win games that they're not supposed to, because a team that feels understood, safe, valued, and cared for is going to run through walls.
Right, right.
So I think what I saw from you so far is you have a way of connecting with people that I think is going to be really, really good for you as you move forward.
Yes. Thank you. Definitely appreciate that. Yes, I don't know if I have any more.
Well, let's go to the HBCU. So you posted about it,
Yes.
right? And so you got to go to Cheney in the Philadelphia area.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the first time you had played at an HBCU.
Yes.
So you got to go there. It's the final time they were going to be in that gym.
Yes.
You described that experience on social media, and it moved me from what you had spoken about there.
Mm-hmm.
And total kind of feeling being within it. So I would love for you to share and expand on what you said on social media on what it was like to be at an HBCU, love for you and your players.
Yes. Again, like I was saying at our last interview, it was their last time they'll be playing in that building. They're going to be knocking it down. Well, they're probably going to be starting to knock it down pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just speaking to a few of the players and fans in the crowd, and I found out like the Underground Railroad runs under Cheney. Didn't even know that. They were explaining how much history they have there.
Yeah.
Yeah, just as far as just playing, they showed a lot of love. Like as far as I'm just jumping all over the place, but like they had media timeouts and things like that, like stuff that I'm not used to. Like even when I played like at OCC and stuff like that, we didn't have like media timeouts and things like that. Like I just felt like it was a Division I or pro type of experience. And I know all their games aren't like that. All their games aren't as big as that day was, but it was pretty cool just being there to experience it that day, because I know that they were saying that their other games aren't as live and as big as it was for their last game that's going to be ever played at that building, which was us.
So to be a part of that history and know that the last game ever played there, that you got to be there for that.
Yes.
And you won.
Yes.
By a point.
By a point, yep.
So you ruined well, I will tell you this. You did what my Raptors did to the Oracle in Golden State. So they said nobody could win there. They won twice and shut that place down and won the NBA Finals. But for you to know the history and the importance and the Underground Railroad being there and all that, to just play there, I would think from what I've gotten from you, just to play there, just to be there was an honor. But to win that game, I mean, you're going to always remember that you went to such a historic place and you came out with a victory.
Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna never forget that. Like I'll never forget that moment, that whole game, 40 minutes. That moment was special. On and off the court, I felt like there was times where we were kind of going downhill, declining. They were outscoring us.
Yeah.
And we fought. We stuck together as a team. Even with the crowd, like I said, with the crowd just taunting us and everything like that, it wasn't like a negative taunt. We've been in places where, they're saying outrageous things, but at this particular place, it was more like, they were doing what fans do,
Yeah.
Trying to help their home team win. But it was a lot of love, and like I said, after the game, it was even more love. I felt like they seen like a younger coach, their coach is also young as well, but I just felt like they seemed like a younger coach, and they just kept congratulating us, you know what I mean? We played a good game.
Who was the gentleman that you took a picture with that you posted?
Yes, he was supposed to be the superintendent of the school. I believe that's what I posted. It was so much happening at that moment. Oh, president of the school, I'm sorry, not superintendent. The president of the school. But he also congratulated us on, congratulated me coaching, and he also congratulated the girls for not giving up. And in that split moment, he asked if we can get a picture, him and another gentleman. Yeah. And I thought that was pretty cool, because I was going to actually ask that question after, but he beat me to it.
Yeah. So for you, HBCUs, people didn't even know that they existed, let alone that there were any still going on, let alone that there was any importance to them, to people. And now in the last few years, we hear about them, right? And how important do you think historically black colleges and universities, how important are they to the history of America? And what should we do to make sure that people know about them?
Well, from where I'm learning, because I just learned myself about the HBCU, from what I know about it, like just from the Underground Railroad, that's major, you know, like that's big right there. Let alone they named a few other accomplishments they have at that school. Like I said, it was so much happening, I really can't remember, but I did remember that particular part, and I thought that was major. And I just felt like we need to we definitely need to put the word out there more. And I feel like we need to, like, as far as myself, I'm going to be having more games. I'm going to try to make more games out there. You know, like next year I plan on playing them twice. It won't be in the same gym, but I do want to play that same team. And then I hear there's another school around that area that's like in competition with being the first HBCU in that area. So they're like rivalries.
Yeah.
But you know, I want to play both of them and want that same experience again.
Why do you think it's important for you as a coach to schedule an HBCU team?
Just because of the history, you know, just the environment, the energy that we had, the love that we got there. Like I said, I just liked it out there. Like they have the cheerleaders, and on top of the cheerleaders, they have, I don't even know what they're called, but like they have these performances, you know, at halftime where people come out and just do different things that I'm not used to. You know what I mean? So I think it's important that not just Bryant Stratton, Syracuse, but other schools that's not, you know, didn't ever have that experience go out there and have that experience. Pretty cool.
That coming here from Tae Baker, Bryant Stratton College of Syracuse women's basketball head coach. Any final note? We've talked about a lot. Do you feel like this discussion has opened up the doors for some things?
Yeah, I think so. I just want to just continue being, you know, getting better every day. I just want to bring more girls into Bryant Stratton College.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, this is my first year. This is my building year. I felt like I'm learning it a lot better. Like even with interviews, if you guys see, I'm not the best at interviewing, but it's pretty cool that Dan, you know, lets me tell my story. Yeah, other than that, man, I just want to keep being better and keep building the program, you know. Like I said, I love my job, you know, and I love being able to still be a part of basketball without actually playing basketball.
And you got your first year under your belt. What did you learn?
I learned a lot. I learned, you know, that everybody, you know, everyone goes through something, you know. A lot of my players were dealing with things, you know, that they came to me and talked to me about, but I would have never known if they didn't, you know, trust and believe that they could come and talk to me.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I feel like my team and I do have a good relationship. And with the future players that come in, I feel I want to build a good relationship with them as well. Yes.
Recruiting wise, what do you want the world to know? If they come to play for Tae Baker, what are they getting? And the world's second coming of LeBron, Eris Robinson. If they come to play for Tae Baker, what are they getting?
Yeah, if you come and play for me, you're gonna get a good year next year just off of what happened this past year. Like I have a spark under me that I had before, but I feel like it just it's an even bigger spark now.
Yeah.
You know, if you come here, I feel like you're gonna get I don't even know then. Like it's just gonna be good. You know what I mean?
Well, why do you love it? Why do you love the coach?
I love the coach because I've been playing basketball for forever. You know, I always felt like that I can, you know, teach and give players what I was taught. You know what I mean? Like even with the girls that I have now, like everything that I was taught, I give it to them, and they use it in the game, and it helps them. You know what I mean? So yeah, if you come here, you're definitely gonna get a good experience. You know, I feel like you're gonna love the team. You're gonna love me as a coach because I'm kind of like raw. You know, I kind of just. I feel like I'm a lot different than the modern, you know, the older, I don't want to say older coaches, you know, but I just feel like I'm different than a lot of coaches.
Why?
Just, I don't know, just the relationship, like just how I get along with everybody for one, and just, I'm just myself, you know, and everybody usually likes that, even the players, you know, the new girls that came in, you know, everybody likes how I am. I feel like what I need to work on is being a little bit more harder on the girls. You know, sometimes it takes for them to press a lot of buttons for me to actually get mad.
Yeah.
And then when I get mad, it's kind of like they're like, finally, coach, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, you're always learning and growing.
Definitely.
You know, and for you, for your vision, for this team moving forward, what are those things you're looking for? Like when you're out there recruiting, what separates? Because there's raw talent all over the place.
Yeah.
So what are you specifically looking for when somebody sits down with you? Because beyond the film, beyond all that, what type of person do you want as a part of this program?
What I want, and to piggyback off of what I'm learning, is like I want players that are coachable, that are respectable. Cause from this year, I have dealt with players, you know, that are disrespectful, you know, and things like that. And yeah, I just want to be able to I just want them to trust the process, you know, trust in me and trust and believe that, you know, I know what I'm talking about. You know, a lot of the girls, I had to explain to a lot of the girls that I do have, you know, accolades or whatever.
Yeah.
From my college experience. So I just want them to trust and believe that I know what I'm talking about, and just I can coach them and help them win games that, you know, we were winning games, you know.
Tae Baker, Bryant Stratton College of Syracuse women's basketball head coach, myself, Dan Tortora. This has been Bobcat Buzz. You can find it every single month exclusively on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and through Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. Support your Bobcats and look into it if you have eligibility, if you just want to get your education. Bryant Stratton College of Syracuse on James Street in Syracuse, New York. Tae, this has allowed me to really open up a door into your life, and I couldn't do it without you letting me do it, so thank you.
Dan, appreciate you for letting me tell my story.
Yeah. Tae Baker, one of my favorites.
Yes, sir. Same here. One of the best interviewers, guys.
Yeah. There's something about the positivity here, so I appreciate it. I'm happy you're in our community, and thank you. This needs to be said more when it needs to be said. Thank you for being so good to me.
Definitely.
You've always treated me with respect.
Yes, vice versa, Dan. Definitely. Appreciate it, bro.
We'll talk with you all soon.
Take it easy, guys.